Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the PC Gamer Show. We did it. I did it. I moved, and now I have a computer again. I have the studio set up, and I'm ready to carry on. I'm glad to be back. It's still 2018, 2018, a great year to be playing video games, and a lot has happened since our hiatus started. And we won't have time to cover it all, but we'll do what we can, starting with the most important stuff. We have Chris Livingston with us, and he's going to talk about... What are you going to talk about, Chris?
Fallout 76.
You've been playing the beta,
Also,
yeah?
I've been playing the beta, yes.
The
Also,
beta.
James, you forgot to pack your beard when you moved.
I left it in San Francisco.
It's mine now.
I got a loaner. I can loan you this one
All
if you
right,
want.
yeah, I'll give you my new mailing address, and I appreciate that. It was really embarrassing because I went to the... I went to like get a gym membership and all the shit I couldn't afford in the Bay, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just have to take your photo right now." And I was like, "No, can we wait? Can we wait, please? Can we please wait?" Because the last thing I want is like, it's not that I don't think I look terrible. Right? But I think, thanks, Wes. I think like I look worse. Like, obviously, I am better suited with a beard. So I know when people say like, especially Adriana, my girlfriend, when we first started dating, she like basically she scared the shit out of me. She was like, I'm really scared for when you shave because it literally might ruin it for me. I was like, so now I have this like great fear instilled in me of like, wow, do people really think that beardless James is a monster? She said I'm not. But the point is, it's worse. So anyway, it's coming back.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. My wife has asked me, like, just like prepare me if you're going to shave. Like, tell me beforehand just so I'm prepared.
You got to be emotionally ready, I think, and I understand because it's pretty jarring. I go from like mid 30s to, I don't know, just ageless monster. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about Fallout 76.
Yeah, if we can squeeze it in, that'd be great.
Sometime. And Wes you just got back from a big old trip, didn't you?
Hello, yes, I am also here. Thanks for the introduction, James.
Yeah, sorry, Wes.
Yes.
We got you.
It's okay. Your beard is more important. Yeah, I was just in Hong Kong and Korea for a couple weeks for vacation.
Right on.
So I did not do much gaming related stuff there. Actually, Korea is really known for having tons of like PC cafes.
Mm-hmm.
I think PC bangs is what they call them. Bang means room, I think, literally.
Okay.
So those are like all over the place, and I did see signs for them all over the place. I saw a lot of signs for VR stuff, but I didn't do any of it because I was sightseeing and eating tons of food. But I did take some photos that we will share later on in the show, some of which are gaming related and some of which are just random stuff that I saw or did while I was there.
Right on. Looking forward to it. And I'll be talking to you guys about, well, what else but Fortnite. Big update dropped this morning, Fortnitemares, and it's actually a pretty cool update. Added some interesting things, some controversial...
Did you say mayors? Like mayors? Like mayoral?
Like
Fortnite mayors. Yeah, there's this whole city civic system. Instead of like becoming the winner by killing people, you have to become the winner by getting the most votes, campaigning for several months, lobbying.
Get out the vote with a gun.
No, Fortnitemares is the seasonal Halloween update. And Epic really went all out, so there's a lot to dig in there. And I'll be showing some footage of the new stuff and talking about it as we go along. But let's get started first of all with our highlight of the week, and I have it right here. Oops, I have the wrong title up. But our highlight of the week is sort of our new way of approaching what we've been playing, rather than regale you with literally everything we've touched or seen video game wise. We'll just talk to you about some things that stood out to us in our recent gaming past. So does anything stand out to you guys, good or bad? Chris, I know you were playing some survival games recently.
Yeah, I started playing a game called Green Hell, which is in early access. I think it came out this summer in early access. If you've played or seen The Forest, it reminds me quite a bit of that, and I think it's probably kind of inspired by some of the systems in there. But it's set in the Amazon. You kind of get marooned there. You're there on purpose, but something goes wrong, and you're stuck with nothing in the Amazon. And so I did a tutorial, and then I kind of spawned like in this beautiful forest, and like I literally took one step, and I was covered with spiders, like little tiny spiders all over my arms. And I was like, oh, I'm off to a good start. And so spiders will give you a rash on your arm where they bite you. And I was kind of like, oh, cool, because I always appreciate when a game kind of does something like I've never had a rash in a game before. Like that's new. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I have like a little, in these open world games, I was like, what is my goal? What am I trying to do besides just survive? I was like, I'm going to cure this rash. And like 5 hours later, I was just furious and I died a dozen times and I had not even come close to the steps you need to take to cure a rash because it's a very brutal survival game. There's lots of ways to die. There's lots worse things than rashes.
I mean, this kind of sounds like the realistic experience of trying to figure out what an unknown rash is, right?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it's like, it's not a good sign it's not something you really like want or know. I mean, I saw spiders crawling on me, so I figured that had something to do with it. But yeah, it's the frustration of like having something wrong with your body. And like, I really like a lot of stuff about this game. I like that you can actually look at your body parts to see what's wrong with them. So you can stick your arm out in front of you and look, turn it over in front of you and look down at your leg and look at it from different sides. So if you have leeches stuck on you, if you've got a cut or an infection, you kind of have to inspect yourself, which I think is kind of a cool thing for a game to do. But yeah, very difficult. Even like halfway through, I switched on to easy mode. And like kind of the issue was I kept dying, and when you die and you haven't saved your game, you obviously lose it, and you can't save your game until you build a proper shelter. So a lot of times I would die before I built my shelter, which meant when I started over, I didn't have the rash anymore. And I was like, no, I want to cure this rash. So I would like go out trying to get this rash again by just blundering into bushes and trees and like, come on, spiders, where are all the spiders? And meanwhile, rattlesnakes are biting me and leopards are attacking me. And I'm getting like, I had worms burrow under my skin and I had to like dig them out with a bone needle. And then I had all these wounds. I got diseased several times. I got parasites. So yeah, half the challenge was like staying alive to cure the rash, and the other half was trying to contract the rash without contracting 14 other things. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating, and eventually I just wound up punching an armadillo. But it's a neat game. I think I'll probably take another pass at it when it's a little further along in development. Right. But if you like challenging survival games that give you rashes and worms burrowing under your skin, yeah, I would give it a look.
Armadillos carry like all kinds of nasty diseases, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Everything, like literally everything in the has some kind of cooties that are going to get you.
Like real armadillos, don't touch armadillos.
I don't think you should like don't prairie dogs like literally have the plague? I think they actually do have the plague.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
But they look so cute. They look so innocent.
They're very cute.
Basically, don't touch animals.
Don't touch animals.
I think it's a good rule of thumb.
If you have a cat, do not touch it.
My cat won't let me touch it. He'll just bite me, and I don't know what he's been in. So, Social Gamer, real quick, kind of agrees with you, Chris, and says, I would consider myself an avid survivalist gamer, and Green Hell is literally hell. Too hard, almost to the point of frustration. But, hopefully something they can address with patches and so on, some balance changes.
Yeah, it's like, I'm actually glad to hear you say that. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, like, do I just suck? Like, is this bad luck? Am I terrible at it? But it really, like, I just felt like as soon as I would take a few steps, something terrible would happen. But there's some really cool stuff in it. Like you can you can, if you find a coconut and break it into halves, you can set them out on the ground, like near your camp, and if it rains, they'll fill up with rainwater that you can drink.
That's cool.
I think it could also use a few more different ways to accomplish things. Like I think the only way to make a bandage is by using like one type of leaf, even though there are tons of different plants around. It would be nice if there were more plants you could find, because that was the other thing. Like if I would get a wound, like I know how to fix that, but it was really hard to find the one particular plant to use as a bandage. So I think like I appreciate when games give you more than path to success. So if it's like you can sub in other items or other resources, I think that would probably help.
Plus, if they let you make a bandage with poison ivy, then you wouldn't have had to spend like 2 hours trying to get the rash back.
That's right. I could have had the rash,
instant.
The rash and the bandage at once. That would have been perfect.
That's surviving. Wes, I mean, you've been vacationing, but any time to make a highlight of your own?
Yeah, I've played. Got back from vacation. I've played a little bit of Monster Hunter World, as well as a decent amount of Dragon Quest 11. That's been my kind of go-to like tired evening game. Just get in bed and play Dragon Quest. But I'm kind of just going through the story in that one. But in Monster Hunter, they just finished the like Halloween event kind of early. I'm not sure why they ended it.
Damn, I was gonna log in and see if they had anything going on.
Yeah, it lasted for like 2 weeks,
right.
But at the very beginning of October. I don't know why they did it that way. But they have rolled straight into the Mega Man tie-in event, which is up for the next like week and a half. So I did log in on Monday, and a friend and I played for about an hour and did there's only one hunt related to this, and it's just an arena hunt. So it's quite quick, and you just have to do it like 3 times to get enough of the basically tickets that let you craft gear. But for those who don't know, it's a crossover event with the Mega Man series. You just do this fight and you get these tickets, and then you can craft your Palico, which is your little cat buddy, kind of like heals you in battle and helps you fight. You can craft him armor that turns him into this giant voxel Mega Man. Like he basically looks like the Minecraft, like a Minecraft character, but Mega Man, like Steve, but Mega Man. And so my cat is now this very blocky Mega Man looking dude with the Mega Buster as a weapon. You can craft both the armor and the weapon. So I did that. And the fight is pretty straightforward. You're just fighting 2 Otagarans, which is this very like rabid wolf like enemy. One of the, I don't know, he's not one of the toughest, I guess, but he's very aggressive. But the funny thing about this fight is one of them is like a normal big ass monster, and the other one is tiny. So one of the 2 Otagarans you're fighting is the size of like a regular wolf. So it's smaller than you are, which is very unusual for Monster Hunter, because you're usually fighting these giant beasts.
Yeah.
And it takes like, at least my friend and I, it took us like twice as long to kill the small Otagaran, because we couldn't hit it half the time. Like my friend was using like a switch axe, I think, or maybe a great sword, using some very large weapon with a very slow swing, and he was just missing like all of his hits. And he's usually pretty on point, but this thing was just so tiny and just jumping around so much that took us like 5 minutes to kill the big one, and about 2 or 3 to kill the big one, 5 minutes or more to kill the small one. So we got it down after a while, but the first time we were fighting him, we were like, why is this taking so long? And it was because we just were missing like 70% of our attacks.
That'll happen with those big unwieldy weapons. But cool.
But that event's going on for like 2 weeks. So if you're a Monster Hunter player and you want to get some goofy Mega Man armor, I don't know if the stats on that are actually good at all, but it's for your Palico, so it doesn't matter that much, really. It's just for fun.
It's all show, man.
The cool thing about it is every weapon you can use in the fight plays different Mega Man music. So depending on the weapon you go into the battle with, you're going to listen to like Airman's theme or Cutman or
some good music. Some classic.
I don't know the songs well enough to know which Mega Man they go to, but there's a bunch.
Is that like the weirdest crossover, you think? It seems. I mean, I guess I
There's
can
some pretty
see
weird.
some similarities because you're fighting things with specific skills, but maybe we should do a weirdest crossovers in games.
There's some bizarre ones. Like
Jeez.
I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm getting those O's mixed up, but in Egypt, and I played it at like, I don't know, about 6 months after it came out, and by that time, the whole press cycle for this Final Fantasy crossover that I did not expect or see, or it somehow just went right over my head. I like saw this quest marker in the desert, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go there, see what that is, and all of a sudden, like, Final Fantasy shit is happening at me, and I get Final Fantasy gear. I'm like, what is going on? It is so out of place, so weird. But
Yeah, I had the same thing happen. I had no idea it was in there, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" It was like there was some pillar puzzle thing out there, and that was fine. And then suddenly there was just crazy Final Fantasy stuff. I was like, "Did I miss a memo?" Which I did.
Yeah,
I was unexpected.
but no,
I mean, I think
we'll do that.
I think Final Fantasy 15's cup noodle crossover is the
pretty
ultimate, the ultimate. What the fuck? The only reason the Monster Hunter Mega Man one isn't super weird is just because it's Capcom owned both properties. Like in universe, it is a very strange thing. But they also did a crossover with Devil May Cry, which I think fits thematically way better because in Devil May Cry you would fight beasts and demons and monsters, so it kind of fits a little bit better. But yeah, I bet we can find some real weird like 90s game crossovers. Like Chex Quest.
Loved it. That's the first time I ever played Doom or Wolfenstein was technically Chex Quest, if that counts. But I think it might have been the first person shooter I ever played. Jesus Christ. Anyway, thanks for the highlight, Wes. Monster Hunter. I'm so glad that game is found a big audience on PC because I want more of that in the future. My highlight.
Me, James.
Sorry, what?
Play
I will.
Play it.
The problem is, and all these games want my attention. Destiny's got shit going on. Fortnite's got shit going on. Monster Hunter. Assassin's Creed doesn't have an end, really, ever. Forza. It's a busy time. It's like I don't feel like that many new games came out. Well, enough did. But in previous years, those games were not like meant to be these big living experiences. And now they're all these sort of, games as a service, and it takes a long time to decouple yourself from them. Anyway,
every game wants you to play only that game.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's kind of exhausting. It's really hard for me to play widely these days. But my highlight's not it's not like one specific game because it's Halloween season, and I love horror movies. I love horror games. I love to be scared, which is perfect because my partner is still back in the Bay finishing up work, and I've been in this big new place all alone. There's a cat mewing outside every night. It's super dark because I'm near the woods. It's fucking cold. Perfect Halloween atmosphere. But I always, every year, I typically try to find the best new indie games or best small games to get in the mood, so to speak. And I found a couple. I haven't been playing as widely as I want to, but some you'll know, some you probably won't. And for the first one, I still have to get through it. I'll link to it here. It's called Giraffe Town. And the elevator pitch I use to describe...
I would know you would love this game just because it's called Giraffe Town.
It's not what it seems, really. Like I would describe it as Octodad meets Silent Hill meets like crazy psychedelia. Like it begins pretty innocuously. You're just like this big dumb giraffe, and you're sad because your feet are slippery and you can't go anywhere because you slip around. And you see this television commercial where you can meet one of your favorite stars, but your favorite star is located all the way across town. So you get out of your house and there's this big road with big chunks missing. You have to sort of precariously try and cross. That's you can play the game that way. Or you can pick up the phone when it rings in your house answer it and listen to and do what it tells you to do. And if you do what it tells you to do, some pretty wacky stuff happens. It gets really weird, really freaky. Not like overtly scary, but it definitely is going for a strange and absurd vibe. There was, to put it in context, like I think I watched a 10-minute cutscene, maybe longer, of flashing lights, static, and all these crazy chromatic images sort of mixing and melding. And that was just like a transitional scene. It gets pretty out there. I don't know if it's not very good out there. It's just like out there for the sake of it, I think. But if you're just like looking for something that's like an easy fix in that regard, at least like I still have plenty to play. I have not finished it, I should say. So maybe it builds towards something, or puts a little more meaning behind the wacky shit it does. But it's surprising. And if you cannot stand flashing lights, if you have any sort of like sensitivity to flashing lights, do not play this game. Do not play Giraffe Town, because it is the flashiest, lightiest game I have ever played, probably. So that's one I linked to in chat. And where's the other one? Well, linked. You've probably heard of this one, guys. Return of the Obra Dinn. Any of you guys play this yet?
No, I want to.
I haven't, but I'm gonna make some time for it because it sounds pretty great.
Yeah, I only just started it last night. This is the next game from the Papers, Please developer, Lucas Pope, and you're basically solving a massive mystery in a really strange way. You have this like magic watch or stopwatch that pocket watch, excuse me, that lets you see the last couple seconds of or witness the last couple seconds of everyone who died on this mysterious ship. And so you piece together like who was who, how they died, and the greater story at hand, the story of this ship, and how literally like all 60 people on it went missing through these tiny vignettes. And it's so intricate and so surprising and pretty, like, it's not scary in the way like a survival horror game is. I think horror is a much broader genre than that, but there are some very surprising and there's some very upsetting imagery. And you'd be surprised because it's got this like old like Macintosh style to it.
One bit graphics.
Yeah, but in 3D, so it wasn't working for me at first, but once you get through a few of the scenes and you see some of the stuff it's doing, it really started working for me. Plus, you can kind of choose between colors. So I think the default scheme is like old Macintosh. You can choose like IBM and Commodore and all these different colors. And I was staring at this like green screen for so long because I chose the IBM color scheme that I looked away and everything looked really like orange. It was so weird, but excellent game. Like, I think we gave it a very high score. So do like play it if you love narrative games.
Would you say it's one you could play like with a spectator, with a friend? Like, is it an enjoyable in the way that like her story was?
Definitely. Like, I think these scenes it takes you through slowly get more complex, and all you really need, like the driver, so to speak, like is just moving through these scenes and looking at stuff that anyone can see. So the information. The information is not only obvious to someone who plays games. It's like you have basically this book, a sketchbook that you deposit information into automatically as you find it, and as you like sort of come up with clues or ideas. And it's fairly intuitive. So I think it's a perfect game to play with someone, especially someone who doesn't play a lot of games. Someone drives, the other person just kind of hangs out and watches, and gives their ideas. Because it's a mystery. Like, you have to think. You have to really think and observe. And I think it's the best mystery game since Her Story for me, in that way. I mean, again, not done, but it's that kind of like game that makes you want to whip out a notebook and start theorizing, writing down stuff, drawing pictures, yada yada. One more real quick is Kitty Horror Show is sort of this like excellent indie developer who specializes in horror games, and I think they put out Anatomy, one of my favorite horror games ever made. They have this Haunted Cities collection that they've been putting out every couple months or so, and Haunted Cities Volume 3 just came out. And I can't recommend... I have not played it, but if it's anything like Kitty Horror Show's other games, it's going to be good. So I plan on diving into that pretty soon. I'll link to that really quick. But yeah, my highlights are those so far. If you have any other horror games, relatively new horror games, please let me know. I kind of want to make a post out of that too for people looking for the same thing. So yeah, those are my highlights. Some really good...
I don't know if any of those were anecdotes, James. Just
I know. I like it. I'm breaking my own rules specifically this week just because it's like I want to share, these...
You know what? If you make the rules, you can break the rules.
That's true. There are no
That's
rules.
the law.
Yeah, but let's move on to something big that I don't know. I still don't know anything about, really, and that's Fallout 76. What the hell is that, Chris? What is Fallout 76? You've been playing the
Is it
beta.
a video game?
Yeah, it's a Fallout game, but different because there's a bunch of other people in it.
And there's no bugs this time, right? They got rid of all this.
There are bugs. Yes, there are bugs. There are both figurative and literal bugs. I was attacked by large bugs. So I played it a few weeks ago at an event in West Virginia during a sort of hands-on session, and then the beta for Xbox started yesterday. It was a 4-hour session, and so I played it for 4 hours. So I've got about 5 hours now total. I think we're about almost 6 hours complete in it. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it immediately like feels weird because you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're picking your facial features and your eyes and your nose and your hair, and you can hear someone else stomping around and crashing around because it's like a multiplayer Fallout game. It's such a weird sensation to be like doing something as private as picking your looks and hearing someone like 10 feet away like crashing around and stomping around.
It's the thing that I hate most about MMOs is about a lot of MMOs is like at the beginning of the game it starts out the story like, adventurer, you're going to be the one to like change this world forever, and then you like run to the first NPC in the game and there's like 700 people standing in a circle around you, and you just know they're all getting the exact same dialogue about how they're special and shit.
Yeah, it definitely is a bit of an adjustment. Even having played it already once, I'm just like, that's just weird. It's just weird I can hear someone immediately. And I think we're used to these in Bethesda's games, at least, these moments of stepping out of the vault and into the post-apocalypse and getting this grand view of the world and adjusting and stuff. And yeah, that's all gone because you step out. First of all, it was nighttime on the server I played, and so I couldn't see anything anyway. And second of all, there's 40 people in party hats jumping around and doing emotes and like running around. There's gunshots everywhere. So the first couple hours feel very crowded just because, I mean, it was the beta. We all started at the exact same time in the same spot. So yeah, there's going to be people like around you at all times. However, like the last 2 hours, like I kind of ran off on my own, and that on the other hand felt really kind of lonely because there aren't, the traditional NPCs. You won't walk up to a farm and there'll be a guy standing there with a story or a quest. There's robots, and there's, you can find notes on tables. You can find terminals that have recordings. But there is, and like the first time I played, I was like, I didn't really feel like I was missing those voiced NPC characters in the world. But at this point, I'm kind of feeling it a bit now that I've had a couple like solid hours just exploring. I don't mind like a nice, quiet, kind of lonely feeling game, but it is definitely starting to feel like quite a departure from the Fallout that we've gotten to know over the past 10 years or so.
James told me he does not care about Fallout 76, and he's
I can tell he's
leaving the podcast.
Completely uninterested.
So you were mentioning you kind of could start to see the tail end or like the beginning of the grind coming. That's gonna, you feel like you're gonna get into this very RPG loop of like having to get, you know, level 7 armor because you're level 5 and shit like that. I didn't play Fallout 4. It's been a long time since I played a Fallout game, but I feel like that's kind of less of a thing in Bethesda's like single player sandbox games. Like, yeah, you do need to get better gear over time, but it doesn't work the way it does in an MMO. Like the level of the item or like the rarity of it isn't make or break for how much damage you're going to be able to do to stuff in the way it is in a more rigidly defined MMO. Do you feel like this game is going to go for more of that grindy MMO-esque progression?
I mean, like, so I got to level 7 in last night in about 4 hours, and like when I got to level 5, I was kind of looking at my stuff, and I'm like, oh, everything that's on me, all my weapons, and you know, my machete and my every single piece of armor is all still level 1. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta get some better stuff. So by the time I'd gotten some level 5 stuff, then I was level 7, and I was starting to feel like this is just gonna be a thing, isn't it? Like where I'm constantly like in this sort of little loop of like, oh, my left shin guard is level 3, but I'm level 6, so I need to like devote some time to that. And there's also, and this is just a thing, like I found a baton, like a security baton, which is a stick that you can hit people with, and it was like a level 10. Ooh. So I couldn't use it. I mean, it's like, and I know this is not new to games. Like this object is, you're not good enough for it. But it was a stick. I mean, it's a stick. You can hit someone with a stick.
More of a sandbox your world is, the more ludicrous that kind of thing feels like. Right?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I wasn't furious. It's like, okay, I guess that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. But, so yeah, there's some of that. And there's, you know, I had a rifle I was using because it was the only level 5 gun I had, and it broke. And then there was this big, like, okay, call off everything. I have to find some aluminum to repair it, and I couldn't find any, and I went to a shop, and it was really expensive, and I didn't have enough. And then it's just, there are these kind of, I could kind of sense some of the things that might maybe tire me out a bit more than maybe the single player Fallout games, where it didn't seem to be that much of an off. And actually in Fallout 4, I don't think they didn't even have like repair. I don't think your weapons ever broke down. But like, if it sounds like I'm complaining, I still had a really good time. The most fun I had was hunting down outlaws or trying to claim bounties. The way the PvP system works is kind of like they're trying to encourage people who want to engage in PvP. So if you go up and shoot someone, you see someone and shoot them, they don't take full damage. It's kind of like a little like, hey, how you doing? It's like a tap on the shoulder type of thing. If they engage you back, then it's all full damage and it's a regular fight.
Interesting.
And if you shoot someone and they don't shoot back, like they don't want to play, and you keep shooting them and you kill them, they become a wanted player, so they get this bounty put on them. So everyone can see them on the map, like it says wanted in big, like a big red circle. And if someone kills them and claims the bounty actually comes out of their own pocket. They actually pay their own caps for this bounty.
Wow.
So, you know, I started seeing these bounties pop up on the map, kind of trying to hunt people down. And one guy, I found him finally, but he disappeared because there's fast travel in this game. So you can fast travel to your base. You can fast travel to Vault 76. You can fast travel to locations you've been to before. You have to pay a little fee.
I'm guessing once you're actually in combat, it won't let you just fast travel away.
I don't know. I hit him. Like I ran up and hit him with the butt of my gun, and he just disappeared. And I saw him somewhere else on the map. He may have already been in the process, You can also fast travel to your friends, which is what I think he did because he appeared right next to someone else on the map. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you can do it while you're in combat.
That seems kind of unfair.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like I don't think you should be able to escape if there's a bounty on you because you could just blip around. It didn't seem quite fair to me. But I did track down another guy. I was stealthing into the area he was in. I got the drop on him, killed him, got the bounty, and he'd actually been. It looked like he had someone cornered in a room, like he was trying to kill another player. Because after I killed this guy, this door opened, and this guy came out and saw me, and then he immediately went back and slammed the door. But then he came out like a second later and gave me a thumbs up emote. So I think he had maybe trapped someone in there and was trying to kill him.
That's awesome.
But it was fun. It was probably the best time I had because it feels like I don't know. It just feels more like the kind of PvP I kind of enjoyed in like DayZ, where you kind of are stalking someone and you track them down and you spot them. And I was creeping around with the rifle, and it was just nice to kind of engage in that kind of thing.
And there was sort of a human social element there too with the guy you saved.
Yeah.
Like you two did not have to then immediately kill each other like you would in a straight up multiplayer game.
Right. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. I did try to test out. There's a mode called Hunter, which is a radio station on your Pip-Boy you tune into, and it sends out a broadcast looking for 4 players. It looks like you need 4 players to start. And what it does is the 4 players will each be assigned a target to kill among this group of 4. And if you kill someone, then you acquire their target. And it basically is kind of a last man standing. There's even a shrinking circle and time limit. So it's got that battle royale-ish edge to it. So I tried to join that, but the match never filled up. There was only 3 people willing to try it, but I'm interested to try that too.
Cool. We have some footage here. If we want to pull it up, maybe we can just branch off talking about what we see.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up real quick. And
I apologize for the quality. I was playing on Xbox, streaming to my PC from another room, so it's a bit grainy. It wasn't on high.
I'm gonna start it once I get this screen up. There we go. I'm starting right now.
So this part, there's something called mutations. Basically, what happens? If you get enough radiation, it can actually have an effect besides just lowering your health and making you sick. It'll give you a specific type of mutation that has both pros and cons. You'll see after I'm killing these ghouls here, the last one poisons me with radiation. I've already got some. And so this mutation was called marsupial. It just tells me on the screen, it says, "You're a marsupial." And I was like, what? What the hell does that mean? And
what does that mean?
What that means is I can jump much higher than normal. I would say like maybe 3 times as high as normal, which was really strange.
What use is that in? Well, I guess navigation. But
well, there might be some areas that you can't reach. Right. I go jump around on the house in a little bit, but you can see. So it takes 4 points off my intelligence. I don't know if our marsupial's really stupid or something. Do we know that? So you can see me doing
it's a very human thing to just be like, you're like a monkey. Monkeys are good at jumping, but they're dumb.
Koalas do look. Don't they eat their own poop? Anyway, carry on.
So it increases my carry weight. It lowers my intelligence by 4, which is a lot. And then you can also jump like crazy. So there's a bunch of them. I was reading some of the other stories of people who have discovered them. There's one where if someone hits you with a melee attack, like they get shock damage. There's a whole bunch of things, and it's usually like you have a drawback, but you also have an advantage. There's one that turns you invisible, but only when you don't have a weapon out. So it sounds like some interesting things, and they seem to be, random. So it's not something you can really plan on getting, but if you get them, maybe, and being invisible would be pretty useful. This is me hunting down the wanted player who will pop into view here, and I don't have any ammo in my gun, so
Great. Oh no!
I had the perfect shot, no ammo. But
Chris, why didn't you have ammo in your gun, man?
I don't know. I'm not a good hunter. So I shot him with VATS there, one shot. He was already missing a bit of health. Here comes this guy.
VATS is weird. Can you and a lot of people are saying in chat they don't get VATS. They don't understand VATS.
So yeah, VATS obviously it couldn't. There was no way to make it work the way it works in Polo 3 and 4 because it slows down time and it gives you these cinematic moments, which you can't do in a multiplayer game because you can't stop the clock for everyone. So how it works is you target someone or something, and if you have a perk card, you can then cycle through like head, torso, arms, legs, and then you just kind of fire. Like it's really kind of weird because it doesn't point your gun. If you're cycling from head to arm to torso, it doesn't point your gun at them.
It just makes the bullet go there.
Yeah, the bullet just goes there, and it's like it's hard to what's shown on screen is not what's really happening because your gun can be just like pointed up and bing, you'll hit. So it takes some like mental wrapping around it to just be like, yeah, it's normal that I'm like hip firing to the right and hitting this ghoul that's standing to the left. It's just kind of weird.
Okay.
And like I did find it really useful. I'm really terrible aiming on a controller, so I found it really helpful when I'm on mouse and keyboard when the PC beta starts in October 30th. I'm not sure how much I'll use it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it is on mouse and keyboard. Like it's odd. It's off-putting. It doesn't have that flair, that cinematic flair. Obviously that it has in single-player games. Here I'll use it a few times. I think I'm shooting Scorched, which are basically like ghouls, but they use guns.
Huh.
Often.
Okay. Can you put your gun away in this game? Can you have not a gun out?
Yeah.
That's good because when I saw you had that shootout and then the guy, came out of the bathroom. Like if you wanted to show, hey, I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah, if he had his gun on, it might have shot him. That's a good point. Yeah, you can put your gun away, and there's all sorts of emotes and things like that. So yeah, VATS is just weird. I think it just takes some getting used to. It's never going to be kind of as cool and cinematic as it was.
Kind of feels like they were just like, well, we got to put it in there somehow.
Yeah, I think I can't think of a better way to have done it. Except for maybe if I'm like locked on someone in VATS, if my gun followed them, I think it would feel much more real and more normal. This is just a weird glitch. Everyone's like, "Oh, there's gonna be a lot of bugs." This is really kind of the only bug I saw is this weird dead ghoul just kind of turned into taffy, and just so I thought I'd include it because it was really strange.
Bizarre.
Yeah, but otherwise, like not really buggy. I mean, I didn't have trouble connecting though. Some did. His head's still there.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's the video. Let me get back to my face.
So also worth noting, like they announced the beta that was yesterday. They announced that a few days ago. Today they announced the next beta, which isn't until Saturday, and it's only 2 hours, which I think a lot of people are going to be really disappointed in. I think people were kind of envisioning. I was kind of envisioning like, oh, well, there was a beta, Tuesday night. There'll probably be a beta period Wednesday night and Thursday night. So I'm not sure if this is going to carry over to the PC when the PC beta starts on October 30th, if we're going to get like a 4-hour block and then wait 5 days and get a 2-hour block. I don't know. I feel I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, well, I kind of pre-ordered because I thought I'd be playing a whole bunch of beta stuff, and now it seems like there's going to be very, very potentially few opportunities to really get into it until launch. So
when is launch again? Is it early November or something like that?
launch is November 14th, I believe.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So that's something to kind of think about. Like, I don't know. I don't think we typically recommend pre-ordering games in any case, but if you're thinking like I really want to get into this beta, keep in mind like this first week of Xbox beta appears to be a total of 6 hours over a week. So it's not like, and they never said like once the beta's out you'll play it all the time, but it is definitely at this point seeming a lot more restrictive than typically betas are.
Yeah, it's weird, especially because I feel like, I don't know, from what I've seen and what I've heard about the early game of 76, it's I won't say aimless, but I think what will be most interesting about this game is the long-term player creations in terms of what people build and sort of weird interactions people have once they've been kitted out and so on. So it's, I don't know, this early stuff, it looks very much like Fallout, but there's people there and it's a new location. I don't know. Like, I still am not convinced this is interesting.
Well, part of the thing is, with these little windows we got 3 hours a few weeks ago and we got 4 hours yesterday, is like, gosh, I would love to just like do one thing for like 2 hours, but I feel like I gotta go and run around. I think everyone's kind of the same way. Like, I gotta see as much as I can. I gotta run across as much of the map as I can. Like, I don't even want to mess around with base building because I feel like that's not going to be something I want to take away from this very short period. I want to see weird monsters and stuff. And like, there's a quest line in there that you can follow, and like, I just kind of stopped immediately because I was like, no, I don't want to do like the first quest of boil some water, find some logs, use a crafting mitt. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go see what's out in this world. So I think that maybe it's aimlessness, maybe it's just like we're all kind of like, we have to go see as much as huge map as we can in this short period we've got. Maybe there'll be some more concrete threads and quests that will kind of pull us through it in a more natural fashion.
I remember one of the big criticisms of Fallout 4 when it came out was there weren't really many kind of role-play-y ways to finish quests, to solve problems. It was kind of just shoot your way through most everything, even if you wanted to be good at conversations or sneaking or whatever. Does this game feel like it's going to have much of that role-play kind of stuff at all, or is it going to be mostly shoot your way through everything?
That's something that I kind of have been thinking about, like how to role play. Obviously you can role play with other people. If you run into someone, you can role play with them, but considering that you're really not going to be around people all the time, there's going to be, like, as even last night, just people just spread out and you don't see them that much. And, not everyone's going to want to role play with you. And I think that's something you kind of lose a bit when you don't have dialogue choices with NPCs. Like, even something as little as just having a choice of how to respond to someone. Just seeing an option that gives you a different way to behave towards someone. Like, yes, I'll help you. No, I won't help you. Yes, I'll help you, but it's going to cost you. Just that little line of dialogue can, like, you can start creating this character that you are. And I think that's kind of important, at least for me. Maybe it's just that I don't have much of an imagination, but I feel like that's a good driver to, like, okay, I've designed my character, know how he looks, but like, what's going on in his head? And sometimes you can get cues through dialogue with NPCs. So I think that is going to be missing. Like, I don't know how I'll role play in Fallout 76. So that's a big question, I think.
Yeah, that's I think it's a question everyone has right now, and I think we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's another reason like the beta time seems to be so limited, because I really do want to say like, okay, I've run around a lot, I've jumped around. I want to like dig into the quest structure, see what's there, see what it really gives me and where it leads me, and if it, helps me build this character beyond just my attributes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Well, Chris, you're going to be playing as much as you possibly can of that, both of the remaining time in the Xbox beta and the PC beta, and I'm sure when it comes out, that'll be all you do for quite some time. So
yes,
stay tuned for a lot of Fallout stuff over the next couple weeks and coming months and perhaps years. This is your life now, Chris.
This is it. And I will have a more extensive piece with some of the video you saw up later today.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Let's move on to Father Wes's Korean slideshow.
Woo!
You went to Korea.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was in Korea and everything.
Cool. All right. Well, Fortnite got an update. No, Wes, we have pictures of your trip.
There's a little more. There's a little
more to it, huh?
So I just pulled out a selection of some related to PC gaming, video games, and a few not. But just kind of a small selection of photos from my trip there that we can talk about. Probably the thing that pertains the most to our podcast is I went to this place in Seoul called Video Game Alley, which is actually just a basement of a kind of I guess shopping center sort of. You like go down these stairs and then it's just one very long hallway with shops on each side of the hallway. Tons of shops, all just selling shitloads of retro games, pretty much, and new games. They had Switch stuff there and PS4 stuff. Not a lot of PC games, and there was like one stand of PC games that I actually forgot to take a photo of, so I don't have that one. But I did get a game from it, which we have a photo of. But yeah, this first one is Advance Wars for the GBA, which is one of my favorite games. And if you're familiar with the cover of the American version of Advance Wars, it's this very cartoony, as the back shows, like these cartoony characters. It's a very like cute game, but for some reason the Japanese cover of it is this like hardcore war game thing with like a pilot and an aircraft carrier. I don't know why that's the cover of that game. It's very strange.
It's so gritty. It's like you could glance at it and think it's a Modern Warfare still or something from like a G.I. Joe. Yeah, it's rad.
Do not know why. But yeah, we can hop onto the next one. There was I was just like flipping through the channels, the TV channels in Korea one night, and there was a PUBG show called Kill Me the Money.
That's good. That's a great translation too. I love it.
I'm not sure if that was actually the name of the show.
No, probably so weird.
I think it was. It was either the show or the segment. I'm not sure.
Kill Me the Money.
Kill Me the Money. Yeah, you can go to the next one. It's another screenshot of the same show. You can see like some analysts talking about whatever was going on in this PUBG match. I am not sure what was happening. I didn't stay tuned to it for too long. But I think from the evidence I saw there, yeah, like I think PUBG is currently the game, which actually makes sense because Bluehole is a Korean developer. I saw like one super old sign for StarCraft on a building, and otherwise didn't see any evidence of the famous Korea's famous love for StarCraft. I imagine if I'd gone into some of the PC game centers, whatever, PC bangs, like there are probably some people in there playing StarCraft, but I feel like PUBG is the game these days.
Cool.
So you can skip to the next one. This is another game that I grabbed and actually put this on our Instagram account. It's Panzer Dragoon, which is a Sega Saturn game that I loved when I was younger, but it's actually on. This is the PC copy. Wow. They put out, I think, both the first 2 Panzer Dragoon games on PC, but I mean, good luck finding a copy of them. You can probably find it on eBay, right? But like, you're not going to find new copies. You're not going to find it on GOG or any digital delivery service. And this seems to be a sealed copy of the game. The CD has not been opened. Maybe it's a re-release. I don't know. Or a bootleg. Who knows? But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if it'll run on my PC or not, but I might try to get it working.
Oh, can you show the camera one more time? I was looking at the image and
yeah, this is
it's there. Look at that.
Quite good shape.
Right on.
And that was like $5. So
really,
that was a good buy. Yeah, I asked him.
Good get.
$5 was like, okay. Let's go to the next one. Next couple photos are from Hong Kong. Actually, I was in Hong Kong for a few days before going to Korea, and the best thing I did in Hong Kong was go visit the Big Buddha, which you could actually see in the top left corner. So you basically take this crazy gondola from kind of outside Hong Kong. You go over this bay and then basically over a mountain or a series of mountains, and you can pay. It was like $30 for like the ride there and back as a package deal, and you got to sit on one direction. You got to sit in a gondola where the floor is glass or plexi or whatever, but you can just look straight down at the ocean underneath you, the mountain. I was kind of worried that it was going to freak me out because I'm a little scared of heights, but I've ridden a Ferris wheel before and that freaked me out way more than this gondola did. I don't really know why, but it feels very secure when you're in it, so it didn't bother me too much. But the view was amazing from up in this thing. I think the next photo
my fear would be more of falling through the glass floor and getting like a bunch of cuts on the way, even though I'm obviously plunging to my death.
Oh yeah, you would.
I would be I'd be more upset and worried about all the cuts.
I don't think you would. I don't think you'd have time to register that pain because your body would just be going
probably, yeah.
So this next one is like coming back the other direction towards Hong Kong. This isn't like downtown in the city. It's kind of outside the main part of the city, but
it's a big city. Cool.
Next photo is some rinks, one of which looks like Pikachu.
Is that the one in Pokeball? A Master Ball or something? I can't tell.
I think it is a Pokeball, yeah. Or
did you buy one or drink one?
I did not. I don't really do soda or energy drinks.
I'm going to pose this question to you guys.
When I was in Korea, I know that's from Hong Kong, but when I was in Korea, I saw milk soda at the
Is it just carbonated milk?
I think probably. I did not buy it or drink it.
It's like some freaky shit I could get down with. I'm not even joking.
Milk soda?
Yeah.
Asia is so far ahead of us when it comes to types of sodas, juices, teas, just like any kind of flavored drink. Like they've got all kinds of crazy shit going on.
Let me pose this question real quick to chat and you guys. What do you think Pikachu tastes like? Moving on. What's this next one? What is this? Is it a pinball machine? What is this?
So I just dropped a link in the chat. I'm not seeing anything in chat, but I just dropped a link to some of those drinks.
Sorry, I'm on the next photo. But, I don't even know.
Yeah, on the next photo. So there was this place called the Sex Museum that was really not a museum. It was just like a place to go and take stupid photos, like tons of selfie opportunities. There was like a big statue of Superman with just a boner and like all kinds of just goofy paintings and stuff that you could like stick your head in. But one of them was one of the little things they had in this place was like a whack-a-mole machine, except there were dicks instead of moles.
To me, it looked like a cemetery where a bunch of dicks have been buried, and those are gravestones.
I mean, you know, art is open to interpretation. Like I don't believe in you know, only going by the word of the artist. So I think you can read this however you want, Chris.
Is this what sex is? Anyway.
I mean, like, what is the bird doing there in the corner?
Lifting a string on the hammer?
I think he's trying to catch the hammer. Maybe.
He's like, don't hit these dicks, please.
Yeah, don't hit the dicks.
Please don't hit these dicks. That raccoon looks alarmed that the bear is. Why is okay? Everyone looks like they're worried the bear is going to hit these dicks.
Even the bear looks kind of worried.
Yeah,
really.
he's like, why am I doing this?
Or maybe he's scared of the dicks. I can't quite. But that was an amusing game that I saw.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if a bunch of dicks popped out of the ground, you'd probably have that same expression. That the bear does.
I think bear is probably the only sane person or animal in this photo. Let's move on because I'm gonna think about this all day.
So the next one, this is at the palace in Seoul. Is this the palace grounds are just amazing. This is not the palace. This is just like a temple within the palace grounds that were massive. Did you go there when you were in Korea, Chris? You didn't have much time.
I only had a day. I went to a palace. I don't know if it was the same. I haven't seen the picture yet.
If it was in Seoul, it probably was.
Yep. Yeah.
Massive palace grounds. And this was actually I don't know if it was under repair or exactly what they were doing, but they had the lake around this particular temple walled off, but I was able to take a photo of it through some glass.
That's real pretty. That's real pretty.
The next one is a shot of entering Video Game Alley, which I mentioned at the top of this discussion, where you're kind of going down into this basement and there's just tons of game stuff in there.
I want to go.
We can go to the next one.
I love the idea of a video game district. Feels very Ready Player One. Here's the video game district.
And you should go to Akihabara in Japan.
Whoa, Sonic 3D Blast?
All it is.
Sonic 3D Blast is my favorite Sonic, low-key. Don't tell.
When did you last play it?
I was probably 10, and I got it from a Scholastic book order, but I want to preserve it. As I remember. That game,
it's
really bad.
Very bad. Really. Sonic should not have been isometric.
No.
Put it that way.
No.
But this was just a random Tiger Handhelds made a Sonic 3D Blast game. That's strange. And also a Nights into Dream game. That's also strange.
Very cool.
The next one is a Samsung Game Boy home computer system. It's a new one to me.
I love Game Boy.
What do you play on the Game Boy?
I don't know.
Gams.
I need to do some.
They got a lot of games.
So many games.
You play Mari and Sonic. All right. Whoa, look at all these. A lot more games there, Wes.
Yeah, this was just one of the random shops. I saw boxed Dreamcast and went, ooh. Especially the orange one with, I don't know, maybe that was Sega's president at the time, or maybe that's just a random Japanese dude who's on that box. I don't know.
I love that.
But I liked the fat GameCube cases. So many, American, we moved to the DVD case very quickly and then stuck with that. But a lot of Japanese games had more interesting box shapes and sizes and colors than we had.
Cool.
So pop on to the next one.
What are we looking at here?
Was another system. I forget what this one was actually, but it was something I had never heard of before. I think it's a special Famicom. You look at the controllers, they look at a Famicom controller. This is actually a Sharp system, I think. Yeah, I'd have to. I took a photo of this one to research what the hell is that game.
Cool.
Game console. The next one, you just see tons more stuff in boxes. I took a photo of this one because I spotted the Panasonic Q, which is kind of in the middle there.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That was the very strange, never came to America GameCube with a built-in DVD player. just a weird looking like
It's
chrome
like
ass
an
console.
oven or something. Oh, that's amazing.
Pretty ugly, but
Novel as hell.
novel, yeah. Next photo, brief interlude from video games.
What's going on
is the coolest kid I have ever seen in my freaking life. Like, as soon as this kid got on the train, I just felt inadequate. And like, I felt like I had been owned by being in the presence of this kid who did not give a shit. He was playing some game on his phone. I forget what it was. And just completely casually wearing 2 hats.
Not like saving it for a friend or just happened upon it. He was like doing this on purpose because
I mean, he stepped onto the train wearing 2 hats.
Cool and confident.
It felt deliberate. Yeah,
It's a boss move. It's a boss move.
It's pretty.
Because even if you have a really cool hat, like 2 hats, he's got you beat.
Yeah,
I'm done. Let's move on. I feel
yeah.
weak.
Let's move on. This is just another shot of one of the game stores in Video Game Alley. A lot of like arcade sticks in here, an old light gun, Sega Saturn. Love me the Saturn. Just a bunch of cool stuff in there.
I want to go. Jeez.
Same for the next photo.
Wow.
I think this is the same guy's shop actually. Yeah. I think I took these photos because the shop he actually had like a partition up and the store was not open. But so I was just like had my phone up over the partition just to like see what was in there. You can spot a few PC games in the right hand corner over there. There's a copy of StarCraft.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Games. So many games.
All right, we're almost through these. So the next one is not in Video Game Alley. This is in a different city altogether in Busan. We went to this gigantic mall called Centum City, I believe. And on the bottom floor of that, there's like a lot of clothing stores and like some pop-ups and stuff. And this was a PUBG like esports kind of pop-up shop with licensed clothes mostly and like keychains and shit like that. And they were mostly hyping up Faker, who I guess is their like sponsored player or whatever. I don't know anything about Faker, but I'm assuming he is a Korean PUBG player. And there was a lot of Faker stuff. If you go to the next pic, it has a sampling of his wares, like a Faker mouse pad.
Faker. That's a pretty good esports moniker.
So yeah, they had like I said, they had keychains and just
Bitcoin. What's this?
Goofy stuff. Yeah, the next one's a Bitcoin capsule toy machine. If you want to like Bitcoin keychain, you can pay like $1 to get that.
Okay.
Should they accept payment in Bitcoin?
Probably not.
And the last few are just some weird things that I consumed. The first one is a grapefruit on top of a beer.
That looks fucking good.
It was bad.
Oh.
I regret to inform you. I had high hopes, but it's like a beer mixed with like kind of a fruit flavoring, and then like just an entire half of a grapefruit put on top of it, and it was just too much.
I could see if it was like
bitter.
A craft beer, like some kind of that wasn't touched.
The flavoring is what, it just got too sweet and kind of ruined it.
It looks cute,
but it was interesting.
Oh, I know what this is. I've had some of this.
Some honey toast. Yo. This was delicious.
Is this like a Korean thing? Like specifically this kind of toast?
It's either Korean or Taiwanese. Okay. I'm not positive. But yeah, Korea, a lot of good desserts over there. If you go looking for it, cafes are like everywhere. And this was just a nice breakfast sweet.
Right on.
Second to last photo here, Edward Scissorhands.
Wow, Banksy's getting crazy.
Just chilling on a wall. This wasn't even a like put your face in it, situation. Like this is not a poster board. It's just somebody's street art.
Right on.
Good old Eddie.
Ooh, this looks good.
And yeah, this is my last photo. It's just an example of it was like one of the last meals I ate. And Seoul actually is a good example of all the banchan, the sides you get with Korean food that are depending on the restaurant can be really delicious.
Oh man, it looks so tasty. I'm hungry.
That was like some smoked duck, I think. I got. It was good.
Right on, man. Well, looks like you had a fun time.
A brief tour through my week spent in Korea.
Right on. Yeah, I hope to visit there in Japan, and I really want to see what like Brazil. I hear Brazil's video game scene is fairly interesting.
They have a big game scene. I think Drew, formerly of Giant Bomb, who does Cloth Map, which is a YouTube series. I think he went to Brazil and did a whole series of videos on the indie game development there and their game shops and game culture. I'm pretty sure it was Brazil he did that in. So check that out if you're interested in Brazilian games. Look at a Cloth Map on YouTube.
It's a very good series. But let's move on. Thanks, Wes. It's nice to see that you had a very good time there, and now.
Thanks for indulging me.
Hell yeah. I now I'm just hungry though, and I want to go on a spree in one of these alleys. Alrighty, we're running close to our usual time here, so I'll sprint through some Fortnite updates for you guys. Fortnitemares is Epic's. I guess now it's going to be an annual Halloween sort of spooky celebration. This time they went all out with a massive update, relatively massive update, something that I don't know, the scale of which you might see like with a new season usually. So some decent map changes, some major play changes, and additions in terms of weapons. And I think the biggest thing is if you've been following our whole the Cube saga, that sort of I guess it came to a conclusion. There's probably more Cube stuff that's going to go on.
Are you still mad at the Cube, James?
I'm still kind of mad at the Cube because the Cube melted into a loot lake, formed this floating island, and then Fortnitemares kicked off by that island exploding. And I was like, all right, the Cube's going to reveal what's inside of it now. But the island exploded and is now orbiting in chunks around the Cube. The Cube is still intact. The Cube is still there. But it did bring some stuff. And that includes, like, I guess Fortnite has come full circle in terms of Battle Royale and added zombies to the game. So there are Cube monsters is what they're called. And they're essentially... I don't want, like, reskin sounds very reductive, but they are basically reskins of the husks from the Save the World mode. And so now, and this is as far as I know, this is only going to be, zombies are only going to be present during the Fortnitemares event, which is probably like a month long or so. But now at these corrupted areas that arrived with season 6, these cube monsters will spawn in there and turn these areas sort of into these PvE pockets of action. They're not pointless though, because if you kill these cube monsters, then they drop loot. And if you destroy the pillars they sort of spawn from, then you get even better loot. So it's this interesting wrinkle that I don't love or hate it yet, but I appreciate it because it changes significantly, like, my options in any given moment. There are like 6 or 7 of these corrupted areas around the map. So if I land somewhere, don't get great loot, and my only option is, well, I have a new option now. Go to the corrupted area, maybe attract a bit of attention from my opponents, but get some loot out of it, or ignore it and, see how I fare otherwise. I'm going to pull up some footage to play in the background real quick. Boop. Minimize that. and pull it up here. There we go. And I'll transition. There we go. So I don't know that it's a real game changer, but I think what Fortnite is Epic is doing so well with Fortnite is just constantly creating new variables that can be either added or pulled at any given moment to sort of like, I don't know, you see this outcry among the competitive players saying that like, oh, they're ruining the game, they're changing it too much, they're fucking up the meta. And I think the point of Fortnite,
that's been the MMO since the beginning, right? Like that's their thing.
Yeah, and I think especially it annoys competitive players because they're like, oh, I can't practice, I can't prepare properly for these events because there's like the fall skirmishes concluding this Friday, and all of this stuff is going to be in there, including one change that I haven't even talked about yet. That might be kind of loud, that desktop audio, so let me turn that down a bit. But I think what makes Fortnite so interesting to me from a competitive standpoint and just a more casual like player standpoint is that I like that. I think the real show of talent and skill in Fortnite comes from being able to react to whatever they throw at you this week versus last week. So yeah, there are zombies now, for now, and they do this specific thing, and they fuck up your fights sometimes, and they get in the way, but they might not always be there, and that makes it fine. It's like an interesting wrinkle this week. How are you going to react? Like, how are you going to be able to adapt? Are you going to be able to adapt at all? And I think the players that do and are capable of sort of on the fly adopting these changes and changing their play style and being as creative as possible in the moment. That's who this game is for, I think. And I think it's sort of we've had these rigid releases or more rigid releases like the Call of Duties and these more static games like that sort of adopt the opposite ethos like the Quakes and Unreals that are meant to be these like perfect distillations of a skill and
that you hone for years.
Yeah, you hone for years, and I don't think that's what Fortnite is or should be, and I think that's why it's so interesting.
Also interesting, like Brendan Green, who kind of kickstarted the battle royale genre. Like I know one of his visions for battle royale was to not let players ever get into like a comfort zone. Like with his mod in the beginning, I believe it was the maps were randomized. You never knew which map to be on. You didn't get to pick what map you were going to play on. He always wanted it to, you start the game and you have to get your bearings, and like having players get into routines and comfort zones and kind of it become this, routine for them was always really kind of the opposite thing he really wanted. So it's interesting that Fortnite is really kind of embracing that when I think PUBG probably isn't.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me want to check in. Oh God, we lost Chris. It makes me want to check in every week and see what's new at the very least, right? So I don't know. On that level alone, it's interesting. I think the bigger change, like the zombies is one thing, the cube monsters is one thing. The bigger, more controversial change is that glider redeployment is now active in all modes for 1 week. And glider redeployment, if you're unfamiliar, means if you are at least 3 stories high, as measured by one of the walls in Fortnite, you can jump and redeploy your glider and glide down safely. That means you can leap off of mountains. You can, from at the top of a massive build battle that like reaches into the sky, you can just hop on down scot-free and carry on.
That's a pretty huge change to mobility, right?
Huge, because Fortnite sort of was always defined by, or at least kind of it became early on, and what players really measured their skill against was the ability to build quickly, do these big build battles, and this sort of like negates the risk of engaging in those, and sort of negates the purpose of engaging in those. I'm not really quite sure how exactly yet, but I think we'll see. But basically, it means, oh gosh, my camera's dead. That the habits players, like the core habits players have relied on, are now changing, which is sort of not something Epic has messed with. They've always messed with the margins, like the guns you have and the material and storm behaviors and vehicles and other mobility options. But this is the first time they've said, screw it, you can just fly around if you're high enough now, and we're going to see what happens. I think people are upset because it's happening during the week of the Fall Skirmish Finals, which is happening Friday at TwitchCon. So that, coupled with the zombies and such, like, has players sort of like, oh gosh, we need to react. But that is more interesting to me, because the people who play best this weekend will actually be some of the better Fortnite players, because if they can,
well, you know who the most adaptable people out there are.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
Teens. It's the teens.
Like, this update is a really telling update for me, because it's Epic taking a stance sort of about how they're going to develop this game, a hard stance, and say it again. This redeployment thing is, they're testing it for 1 week, so it's not the end of the world. You know, if it sucks, they're going to pull it out. They've vaulted so much stuff, jetpacks, the drum gun. They've nerfed and changed and adapted this game in so many different ways that, I don't know, I'm fascinated to see them like mix it up. Mix up the fundamentals in such a big way that, like, I'm going to be glued to the screen this Friday. I'm really excited. So yeah, besides that, there's some really cool cosmetic updates. There's like new challenges that kind of ask you to engage with the zombie portion of stuff. And I don't know, I've had a good time dinking around with the new systems and updates. But I still think this is, like, Fortnite gets a bad rap. This is probably my personal game of the year, and I've never liked a multiplayer game like I have like this. It's been so much fun to watch. But yeah, let's move on so we can get like a couple questions in.
Questions
at the very least. We do take questions first and foremost from our the PC Gamer Club members in the PC Gamer Club Discord. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to club.pcgamer.com to find out more. It's just a way to support us directly, get an ad-free experience on the site, access to our Discord, free game each month, and digital subscription magazine. A lot of cool benefits in there. That's club.pcgamer.com. Let me get these questions up. Boop, boop. Let's start with Janrin, who played Jackbox with me. Thank you, Janrin. That was a lot of fun. Remind me, was the upcoming 20XX range of NVIDIA worth it at the moment, or should people go for the 10XX series? And he's talking about the GTX... RTX, sorry, yeah. RTX 2000 series versus the GTX 1000 series.
How much money you got, Janrin?
That's it.
They're just pretty expensive is the thing. Like, even the 1070 equivalent, the 2070 this time around is pretty pricey. I don't want to put the number because I don't remember it off the top of my head. But it's more than that kind of tier has cost in the past. So couple that with the fact that, like, nothing is using the ray tracing stuff right now. I don't think even Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which they were using as like one of their example games before they launched the hardware, I don't think that's live in the game yet. I could be wrong. They might have patched it in at this point, but it is very limited right now in what the ray tracing support of those cards is going to get for you. And in terms of performance in existing games without ray tracing, they're a bit better than last gen, but not a gigantic leap. Mm-hmm. So unless money is no object and you got to have the latest and greatest thing, I would say wait for maybe even Black Friday for a deal on like a 1070, 1080, or 1060. or get one now if you spot a good price. But I would personally recommend the previous gen cards just to save yourself $200 to $400 and still get quite a good card.
Right on. Well put, Wes. Kind of tailing off that, Turdog asks, what's the PCG crew's take on the new Intel 9900K CPUs? Go for it or get an AMD 2700X instead. I believe our review of the 9900K was it was glowing, if I remember correctly. But also probably a question of cost, how much you want to spend right now. I'll link to that in chat just so you can read for yourself. A bit behind on hardware at the moment, but Intel's still doing well.
I think it's really a money question at this point.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's not going to be so much better for gaming that it's kind of worth it from a bang from your buck perspective. Like if you look at our 9700K review and the 9900K review is probably the same. Jared did like an overall average performance, from a bunch of his tests, a bunch of games. So keep in mind it's an average. There's going to be fluctuations within individual games, but like the 9900K hit an average 120 FPS when coupled with a GTX 1080 Ti, and the 9700K hit 119 FPS, and the Ryzen 7 2700X hit 106 FPS. So there is a gap there, but you're not going to be CPU limited, CPU bottlenecked with any of these CPUs for the next 4 or 5 years, probably. So
maybe just wait until they're cheaper if you really got it, and you'll be set.
Kind of up to how much you want to spend, basically.
Yep. Cool. Hardware is doing well right now. Got some good new stuff. If you're rich. Acid Wolf. Hot minute round. I love Acid Wolf's hot minute rounds. Pick one game from each of the following 3 pairs for any reason. First one, XCOM 2 or Into the Breach. Go.
Into the Breach.
XCOM 2.
XCOM 2. All right. Hitman 2016 or Dishonored 2.
Dishonored.
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 Are we supposed to give our reasons or no?
We can if you really want to chime in.
No, that's fine. I like this. Go. Keep going.
The Fallout series or the Elder Scrolls series? A timely question, perhaps.
That's tough. I don't know. Like, I have so much love for Oblivion, but I know so much of it is nostalgia.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say Elder Scrolls. I got a bit deeper roots in Elder Scrolls.
I think I'll probably say Elder Scrolls as well.
I say Fallout because Obsidian made one.
There you go. Good answer. Right on. All right, we'll do one more. I'm going to save Logic Bomb. If you're listening, I'll save yours because I want to clarify a few things with you. Just make sure I'm not asking the wrong cue. JBJ Blaze, any plans for Halloween? I'm between playing Five Nights at Freddy's and watching the new It, but I'm not sure which will bite yet. That new It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. I like it a lot.
I watched it on an airplane, which made it a little less scary.
A little bit, I can imagine.
It was pretty good.
You guys going to do anything for Halloween? Anything you're planning to watch or do or drink? Pumpkin beer? I don't know.
Oh, I should get some pumpkin beer.
Is pumpkin beer good? I haven't been.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll drink I'll typically buy like one 6-pack of like Blue Moon pumpkin or whoever's doing a craft pumpkin beer and drink like 3 of them, and share.
So many of them just
whatever.
taste like they've emptied the spice drawer into a beer. I'm like, bleh. I'm just like, I need a pumpkin beer that's just a little more. Just give me the essence, the hint, like a LaCroix of pumpkin. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't feel like I've had one that I found overwhelming.
So maybe I'm just sensitive to that.
Maybe I just love pumpkin. I don't know. I should get some pumpkin beer, but I don't have any Halloween plans yet. No party invites. No horror like faves that I go to. Right. Might watch that new Hill House series. People have been losing their minds over.
I liked it. It's pretty good.
I'm not really a horror fan in general, but if it's real good, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Chris?
What about you, Chris?
I'll probably buy like 2 tons of candy, and then 3 trick-or-treaters will show up, and I'll still have 2 tons of candy, and then I'll eat all the candy.
Nice.
That's my plan. That's what I do. It's a tradition here.
Oh,
Do you ever dress Hank up for Halloween?
No, Hank, like, you can't put anything on him. He's miserable. I would never try to put a costume on him. He can't even handle, like, he doesn't even like getting in. He loves going for walks, but he hates the harness. And like, still to this day, you have to chase him to put the harness on him because he hates it so much. So no costumes.
Good for Hank, though. I'll be, now that I'm in Eugene, I live in a town where kids exist. So I might actually do the trick-or-treating thing, or like buy candy for trick-or-treaters on Halloween. But over the weekend, I'd never seen John Carpenter's Halloween, so I watched it yesterday, 2 days ago. And I could see it being very good for the time, and I appreciated it from that standpoint. And I have not seen the new one, but I've heard it's pretty decent. So I'm thinking I'll go see that with Adriana. And I don't know. We've been consuming so many horror movies. We're just so diehard. I've watched so many, and
it sounded like you were about to shit on Halloween there, and then you just moved on past that.
It's like, it's an old movie. It's a very old slasher, so it's not packing a major punch for me. But seeing when it came out and what it did for when it came out and how it was filmed, the music especially, it's classic John Carpenter. I love it. Love it.
It's no The Thing though.
No, definitely not. But it's a goodie. It's great. So yeah, play some games too, probably, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Halloween, spooky stuff. Play some more Fortnite too. But that's gonna do it for us. We're 3 minutes over, and I'm sorry guys for taking those extra 3 minutes of your life away. But until next week, where you can always catch the show after the fact at I forgot how to do this, guys. What is it? Oh yeah, pcgamer.com/tag/podcast, where you can get the iTunes subscription feed, the RSS feed, the direct download. YouTube.com/pcgamer for the VOD, as the kids say, on demand.
I apologize to our podcast listeners for a 10-minute segment of me talking about photographs that you can't see. So go to YouTube.
Yeah, I'll maybe it'll be on YouTube, but maybe I'll embed a couple in the post too, just for easy referencing. But yeah, until next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time, you can always catch us at twitch.tv/PCGamer. Is there a spooky slogan I can say, or a spin on my spooky slogan?
Scare on.
Until next week, scare on. And never forget the power of ghosts. Boo. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.